Let's make a homemade egg drop soup. You need chicken broth. I'm using canned chicken broth that I made last year. It is actually a bone broth. You're going to need 3 eggs, and by the way, it's 4 cups of chicken broth. Quart jar, 4 cups. You need sesame oil, cornstarch, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, and you need some green onion and some salt. What we're going to do is we're going to turn this 3 tablespoons of cornstarch into a slurry by adding 2 tablespoons of water. Let's get started. We're going to start by opening up the homemade bone broth. Ooh, yeah. Smells delish. We're going to put that into our pot. And that was 4 cups. At this time, you could go ahead and add salt if you wanted. I'm not going to because I season my bone broth pretty well. It's very flavorful. So we're going to put this on a medium heat. You could also, at this time, if you wanted to sweeten it a little bit, you could add some type of sweetener to it. I don't. I just want the wonderful flavor of that chicken broth, which is so comforting. You could also add a yellow food coloring because traditionally when you see it in restaurants it's a bright yellow. I don't do that, but for aesthetic purposes, if you wanted to do that, you could add your yellow food coloring at this time. This is going to be brought to a boil, the 4 cups of chicken broth. In the meantime, I'm going to make the slurry. We have 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of water and mix that up. We have the 2 tablespoons of water in here, and we're going to get this mixed up. You want to get that mixed up as well as you can. You don't want any clumps. The purpose of adding the cornstarch, if you've ever had egg drop soup, it's a little thicker of a base other than your standard broth. So that's why we're going to add this in. And that is, excuse my dog, he and the cat are having issues right now. Now, if your chicken broth that you're using is not very flavorful, you could also add a chicken bouillon at this time when you're heating up that bone broth. The stock had gotten to a boil, so I'm now going to add my slurry into this, and we're just going to stir it while we are adding it. So you want to gently stir it as you're adding it. And you're going to see it thicken. And you can see it's not your normal thin texture. We're going to let that cook a little bit more on a low heat. It is definitely thickened, so now we're going to drizzle in our beaten eggs. They need to be room temperature. You don't want them cold and being drizzled into this hot liquid. And you need to stir while you're doing it. And it'll get stringy. We're going to add the sesame seed oil and the green onions now. Normally they say a teaspoon. I like the flavor, so I add a little bit more. Gonna add our green onions in there. I love onion. Normally it's just 1 stalk, but I love the flavor of the onion in here. It smells delicious. You want those green onions to cook a little bit. You want that flavor to incorporate in here. But it's nice. It's thicker than your standard. You have the eggs that are there. And they're stringy, which is what you want. You don't want them clumped up. The sesame seed oil in there. Good stuff. So let's give it a taste. And we're going to get some of those onions. I love onions. You can taste the sesame seed oil in there. The richness from the broth. I don't have any of those noodles that they serve with this, but that's okay. I might have some other Asian noodles in there that I could add. Crunchy. The crunchiness is good. It's a cold. When I say cold, it's like 50 degrees today. And it's rainy. And this is a comfort. It's an easy comfort bone broth, good for your health, low carb. Try it, friends. It's so easy. Not that many ingredients. It's not that hard. And here is the final result. It's delicious!